What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Omega Greed YouTube channel, where we do a whole bunch of fun things with cars and we learn how to work on all the cars together. If you're new to my channel, hey, what's up? My name is Jeffrey. We do videos on the 2020 Hyundai Veloster N and my Ford Focus RS. But in today's video, we are jumping right into things. We are jumping right into what it's like to drive a Veloster N literally across country. So if you're continuously, or if you're subscribers of my channel, guess what? We're inside a new place. If you look around, we're inside the new place. We are inside LA right now. We literally drove all the way from Buffalo, New York, all the way to Los Angeles, California. And I primarily drove the Veloster N. And yeah, after driving that car for, it was at the end of it, it was like over 40 hours. I can tell you, I have a lot of experience now, and like what's it like driving it on like a road trip, and like what's it like for like long trips. But yeah, so without further ado, let's jump right into this video. So to jump right into things, let's jump right into the good things about the car. It did extremely well on gas mileage, like extremely well. We averaged 30 miles per gallon, and that was when everything was all said and done, our route was like 2,800 miles, I want to say. And it took us like a little bit longer. It took us like 40 hours just because we had a lot of stuff that went on. If you want to check out that video, you definitely can. Check out the video we did when I did the whole documentary of our actual trip when we went all the way from Buffalo to LA. That'll be linked down below. That's inside 2 parts if you want to see like what the actual driving experience was and what took us so long. It did extremely well on gas, which, that's a good thing about it. You put it in eco mode, the thing just cruises. But whenever I needed to have any extra power to pass someone or to catch up with another car or anything like that, because we drove down in like a caravan type of setup, put the thing inside in mode, downshift, and just go. You can catch up, plenty of passing power. That's the one great thing I love about the thing. It really has a dual mode. You could put inside eco mode and you're just cruising. It's just a nice commuter car. But when you need the extra power, put inside in mode and the thing just takes off, and you can really just catch up and just do what you got to do. So that is a really nice thing about the Veloster N. It has that dual personality about it. The other thing is how comfortable it was. I would say the car is relatively comfortable. For it being more of a sporty car, it is very comfortable with that. Like I said, if you put into eco mode, it does have that dual mode, and with the active suspension, it makes everything a little bit more softer, a little more cushiony. You have all the modern features that you would want. You have Apple CarPlay, the dual climate controls and everything like that, which is really nice. The one thing we did wish it did have was the heated seats. I know it's like 2020. I'm not sure for the new 21s, but it's like 2020. You couldn't get heated seats with the N, and like a couple other features like you couldn't get, like the lane keep assist. And I think the like charging pad you couldn't get with the ends. You could only get inside the normal turbos. It would be nice to have inside the end, but it didn't overall detract from everything. I mean, the seats though were fairly comfortable. Even I was driving with my sister, and she was even telling me like, oh, these seats are like really nice. For them being more sporty, they definitely still felt comfortable. So that was a nice thing about that. Like, they are still sporty, but they're not overly sporty like inside the Focus RS. Those seats, if you're sitting there for more than 5 or 6 hours, you're gonna be feeling it. But inside the Veloster N, it really wasn't that bad. If you're driving for like 8 hours, it's not gonna be that bad. Those seats are really nice. Another nice thing is that it is a extremely easy manual to drive. The clutch, super light. I mean, not super light, but it's light enough. You're not gonna have any problems with it. Like, we did hit traffic. It was pretty simple stop and go traffic. It wasn't that bad at all, honestly. And even now, driving the thing in the city, like it really isn't that hard of a manual to drive. I really think it's pretty simple. So that was really nice with that. It was just fun, simple car to just drive. It was really nice with that. And I would say if you have 2 people in the car, it's plenty of room. It's pretty comfortable with 2 people inside the car. If you have more, well, we'll talk about that when I start getting to the bad. But with 2 people, it's a nice, like, you can just go on a nice cruise. It's a great car. It's fun. It's easy. And, you know, it looked very stylish. I mean, actually, like twice, 2 different gas stations, someone said like, wow, that car looks really cool. Like they really like the color. We have the hero color one, the blue one. And so, yeah, people definitely did notice it. It did look really cool. Just driving down the road. So really, honestly, like, if you're just looking, like, if you're just curious, can you take it on a road trip? I mean, yes, you can take any car on a road trip. It's a car. You can do it. You know, was it fun? Was it easy? Yeah, I would say so. But now let's get into some of the bad things about it, because just like anything, there's some good and there's some bad, and there was definitely some bad things about taking that car. Okay, so one of the major complaints about the car is it is a performance car, obviously. The negative thing about that, there wasn't a spare. You can buy a spare. It doesn't come with one. So if anything happens, you're kind of, you know, out of luck with that. So that is a negative thing you got to keep in consideration. With us, we carried around, you know, like an extra like air compressor for the car, for any of the cars, just in case anything happened, we would have it. But there isn't a spare that comes with it from factory, so you gotta be careful with that. Also had AAA just in case something did happen, but you know, luckily nothing did happen, so that's good. Other thing is, though, I have noticed even from before, the speakers seem to be kind of soft and tinny. I don't know how to quite explain it. It doesn't quite sound as well-rounded, if that makes sense. We did mess around with some of the EQ and like the levels inside of it to try to improve it. It did help. But just overall, though, I mean, the sound quality isn't as great. Like in my Focus RS, it's just a lot better. Inside my Dodge Challenger, that speaker system was really nice. So kind of getting into this, it does feel a little bit more softer. If you're going to be listening to like stuff on the radio or like, you know, Spotify or whatever, it's not quite as bassy, and it doesn't, I don't know. It just wasn't as good as some of the other speakers that's out there. But you got to remember, still at the end of the day, the undershell underneath it, it's still an economy car, so I can't really fault it too much for that. The other thing is, though, if you have more than 2 people, it can get a little bit cramped. The car is still a smaller car. It would, you know, it's not quite as nice if you had like a little bit bigger of a car. When we drove down here, I actually drove the Veloster N, but my fiance drove the Focus RS, and we put both of our dogs inside my car just because it had a little bit more room. So I would say inside the Veloster N, if you have more than 2 people, it can be kind of cramped. The back seat will become cramped if you have 4 people going on a long road trip. You don't want to stick them back there too long, but like 1 extra person is not too bad. That's what we kind of had in that situation. We had 3 people inside the Veloster N. Wasn't too bad, but I can tell anyone in the back, they weren't that happy, just because it is kind of still like a smaller car. Even though it does do a nice job with the room that's back there, it's still not going to be fun for over 8 hours, which we did. So a lot of these complaints I'm having, this is kind of just, we literally did 12-hour days, and then we also did a 15-and-a-half-hour day. So we did long days of actual highway driving. So some of these complaints are not really going to be necessarily if you're just taking like a quick like 6-hour drive, doing like all day inside the car. These are the type of complaints that really just came out after this long of a time period. The other thing is, though, now this is a weird complaint. Now, if you guys can't tell, I'm 6'2" without shoes on, so I'm fairly tall. One issue that I did have, which I didn't really seem to have inside any of the other cars, is with the acceleration pedal. Not even the clutch at all. My right foot started getting really sore. Now, granted, this only happened after 8+ hours of driving, so I'm sure, you know, anything like this would happen inside any other car. But it was just kind of, I felt it more, I think, because it was a manual and I was going on and off of the throttle a little bit more. The reason why when I kept trying to put the car inside cruise control as much as I possibly could, just to like, so I didn't have to like use my right foot. But just the way that the actual pedal is positioned, I was kind of coming at the accelerator pedal with like kind of like a small tilt. So like just the like heel, not even the heel, I don't even know what it is. I guess the part that's in the front of your Achilles, that section of my foot that got really sore just from this motion doing up and down on the throttle It just started to get sore after a while. Granted, this only happened after 8+ hours of driving, but it was something I did notice, and it did kind of drive me crazy. Like, I kept trying to change my positioning to try to alleviate the pain. Like, I drove with shoes on, shoes off, sandals on, sandals off. I kept switching things up to try to like alleviate the pain. I raised the chair all the way up to the ceiling just about to try to give me a little more leverage, so it felt like I was sitting on a chair to try to help. And then I lowered the seat all the way back down to like the floor to try to see if that would help. Kept moving my seat around, just to try to like relieve pain on my actual driving foot. But that was something that I felt. You probably won't feel it if you're, maybe if you're not as tall, or maybe you will. Granted though, just driving for that long of a time period, you're going to have aches and pains. Like, even like my leg was rubbing up against the side part where your pedals are. My leg was getting sore just because it's like a hard plastic. It's not any soft touch down there. So after long periods of time, it just got a little bit sore, just resting my foot up against that. Other thing is though, which isn't really the car's fault because it wasn't set up for it, but we did go through some snow. And like I said, we're from Buffalo. Like, I'm used to driving in snow. I literally did a whole video of driving my Challenger RT inside snow. I've driven that, I've driven a Camaro, driven, lots of cars in snow. Oddly enough, like rear-wheel drive cars, even my Jeep Wrangler, which was, I had a rear-wheel drive only Jeep Wrangler. And yeah, I drove that in the snow as well. So I drove a lot of cars in the snow that were rear-wheel drive. Driving the Veloster N, going through Texas, of all places I know, there was snow. We hit a lot of snow inside Texas, so much we had to actually pull over for the night. Yeah, the car was set up because it has summer performance tires on it right now and front wheel drive. Typically, I'm used to driving rear wheel drive now in the snow, so driving that, I wasn't really having problems, but I was just getting stuck a lot. Like, literally, we got stuck like 3 times. It was actually a pretty decent amount of snow, maybe like 4 to 5 inches of snow. It wasn't crazy, but it was still enough that when stuff wasn't plowed, I had to kind of fight to get through it. So it wasn't really the car's fault. Didn't have any, if we had different, wheels and snow tires on it, I'm sure I would have done fine. But just be careful with that if you're thinking about it. If you're going somewhere where there's snow, just think about that in the back of your mind as well. But yeah, overall though, the driving experience though, the car, it's a great car. I think if you're doing like a quick 8-hour drive, like 8-hour drives, I think are like a nice sweet spot with that car. Going longer than that, it will get tiresome, but that's how it's going to be with any other car. It's going to get tiresome. I don't necessarily think like it's a bad car if you want to take a road trip or anything like that. It's a simple car. Jump in it, go for a drive. It's a fun car. Just be careful if you have more than 2 people. If you have 3, you can probably make it work. 4, it's going to be tight because you got to consider all of your stuff and everything else inside the trunk. So it's going to be a little bit tight. Even with us with 3, we have stuff inside the trunk and inside of the back seat. Granted, we were moving across country, so we had a lot of stuff inside all of our cars, and stuff for take care of the dog. So just be careful about that. Something will be better if you had like a mid-sized sedan or a bigger sedan, or obviously like a crossover or SUV. But hey, we buy cars to enjoy them and to use them. So why not? If that's the car that you have, why not? Go on that long road trip. We literally did it. We literally drove across the country. So if I can do it, you guys can too. But like that, guys, we're going to end the video here. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, give it a like. Follow me on Instagram, Omega Greed, same name as the YouTube channel. Go to the website, geekswithcars.com. And if you like this content, check out my channel. We do a ton more stuff on all the cars, and we're going to be doing a ton more videos on the Veloster N, Ford Focus RS, and everything. What's it been like, honestly, living here inside LA. So we'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.